Gaming versus Invictus Gaming. Game 2.
Draft number 2 about to begin, and we're hoping to see a stronger draft or stronger game from Vici.
I think it's going to come down to gameplay. I think they had all the tools they needed. They got to the portion of the game that they wanted to get to. IG kind of handed them that portion of the game, honestly.
Would you agree?
I would say so. It's just that IG outfought and out-executed them, for sure.
So
And
then how do you beat that? How do you beat that execution?
I think just play to your strengths and maybe not Lena.
I was going to say maybe not Lena, because Lena is a mid laner that has to win the lane. That's why people pick her. She snowballs off of that momentum in farm as well as the kill potential on the map. And we saw Lena against Ember. I'm pretty sure slightly Lena favored, and Emo was winning that pretty much from level 1. And then his impact in the late game was just, I'd say, a few levels above that of Ori.
Absolutely. It was a big surprise that Lena didn't do as well as we thought she would on lane, but I guess we didn't even touch up on that clockwork pick. It felt like it did do a lot, too, in setting up the fights and
It's the
jumping on those
chaos
backline
factor
supports.
with Magnus. Once somebody throws a wrench in the equation, your positioning falters, and the RP just becomes that much more powerful. We're not going to see that this game, though. Thank you. I was really hoping one of the teams would ban out Magnus, as I've seen enough of that.
Yeah, I was surprised they banned out Mars over the Magnus last game. I asked you, and you were like, I don't know why. There we go. And now they start out with picks that we saw very prominent in the group stage, and that they've still been picking, which is Snapfire, Monkey King. How's this
We'll pick
opener?
Mars.
Well, to start with, I just think it's very interesting how highly IG value Phoenix, because I don't think we've seen another team place such high priority on this hero.
True.
And if you think back to Singapore, they actually just won with this hero in almost every game in the finals too. So not only is it a comfort pick for them, but it's a really creative way to approach the more durable tinies of this meta. So it's nice to see a different team with a different style of taking on.
Seems like a nice
current core
alternative
heroes.
to IO, right? Because it doesn't get punished by the AoE. Like, it is a heal support that you're scary to go on these beefy frontline cores because of that Sunray. But instead of having to be tethered right next to him, getting caught by these RPs, these disruptor ultis, you're back at a safe distance. And you also draw a lot of attention to yourself with the egg.
Absolutely, and don't underestimate the value of early points in Sunray, especially if you have a spirit player like Emo on your team who is always going for kills and always going for fights. Suddenly you go up in value as a Phoenix just because of the damage that you can provide something like a spirit hero, right? But of course the approach that Vici take to this Phoenix, or the Snapfire, is probably the best counter in the game. You just have to press a little shredder and right-click the egg and it dies. Of course there are play arounds to it, but it makes sense that it was picked here. Monkey King, we've talked about the vision that he provides and how useful it is and his flexibility before, so I don't know if we want to touch on that a little bit more, but the only other thing to comment about in this opener is the stuns are not really instant. There's Boundless Strike for the Storm Spirit, but that's about it, and it's dodgeable, like if the Storm sees it coming.
IG definitely saw this opening coming, as they've picked Monkey King on the side of Vici pretty much any time it's been left in the pool. I see it out of their 8 main event games. They've first rounded it 5 times. And also, the fact that JT is such a well-known Mars player for IG, the fact that they passed up on the Phoenix-Mars combo says a lot about how highly they prioritize this Storm Spirit, that long-range catch. It's nice for the tree destruction on top of the Mars. Both heroes will catch that Monkey King, but I think it's the fact that the Snapfire, you can either prevent her from hitting the egg with Arena, or you can just jump her with the Storm. So I think that's going to be a big part of their team fights.
That's a really good point, because if you look at these two supports, Storm should not struggle in killing them, or they shouldn't pose much kill threat to him. Also, if you want to think about Storm's gameplay in around the early mid game, these two are not going to be much of a threat in terms of just like smoking mid and killing him the way that Vici like to play, because PYW and DY, they're known for their catapult rotations. So I don't think Storm should have too much of an issue here in that regard. Also, one more thing to note about IG's Storm Spirit is they are so confident in first phasing it for Emo. They do it whenever they can. He has absolutely no fear when it comes to Storm.
I also know that Emo has a special build that he likes to build on Storm, exclusive to him. What's the strength of that?
He actually, well, I think Slowing's a pretty broken item and underrated, honestly, and Emo was the one who kind of brought it back on Storm Spirit, because 4 months ago, he was building it in every game. You could see it in iLeague, you could see it at OGA, and I think a lot of other mid players picked up on it, because now if you just open any top live game, you will see Storm Spirits with Slowing. But it's just very cheap it gives you extra tankability and just the mana that Storm needs.
It's also the fact that you get so many bottle charges in the mid lane now. That makes Storm's game incredibly reliable, and Soaring as an item doesn't increase his max mana pool, so you're effectively getting way more out of your bottle than you would with say something like Mana Boots or Kaya. So not only are you getting the extra mana from the Soaring, but you're also increasing the efficiency of your other items. And we see Earthshaker. That gives them the instant stun that they needed in team fights. Monkey King's Boundless is okay, but Snapfire's abilities are relatively clunky in order to land on a spirit mobile hero like Storm. And now I would imagine some save disruption like Silencer to break up this combo that Vici's representing.
That could be quite good. And now that there's an instant stun in Echo Slam or Fisher from a distance, suddenly the chain stun potential of a cookie is so much higher. So the Storm Spirit that looked good with just the first two now looks like he can be threatened by the heroes on Vici's side.
This is a reverse from game one, am I wrong?
Yep.
IG let Vici have Lion Doom. They just complement each other so well, but as opposed to going for the Wraith King, they go for the Morphling because they have the Shaker combo. I think they were calculating that because Doom and Lion on paper are pretty good against Morphling. It's really hard to play without Lincolns and BKB, and you also need the Ags. So there's a lot of items that he needs on the Morphling, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to get there.
So you don't think Morphshaker is enough to power through this?
It's the be-all, end-all. If they get to that point in the game, their stuns will be insanely overwhelming. Storm will get bursted, they will get locked down, but he can't play, like, it doesn't matter how many stuns you have in your abilities if you can't cast them. And Doom, Lion are just so good at preventing Morphling from doing so. So he's going to need the Lincoln's BKB Ags, maybe like a Scotty in order to operate these fights.
So there is going to be a timing in this game for Morphshaker where they're actually much stronger than IG if they don't get overwhelmed at any point in the game. And yes, like Morph is under threat with the instant disable by way of Hex from the Lion. But if you look at these backline supports in Phoenix and Lion, they're going to get blown up by this Shaker Morph combination. So I think IG really needs to pick a more tempo hero because Doom, while he is very strong, you know that the team's going to play a bit of a slower game when they have a Doom because typically they will build the Midas and they will farm a little bit more and they don't necessarily rotate with every Doom initially.
For the last picks, I'd like to ask you first, BSJ. What are we looking for? What do we need to fix here for Vici's draft? What could complement the Morphling Shaker enough?
Just a momentum mid-game hero. You need this 8 to 20 minute mark to not be game losing for you. You need to not let IG snowball the kill potential that they have. They want on the side of IG to get 1 or 2 pickoffs with Finger and Doom and then sit back and fire for 2 or 3 minutes and then go again. And that can be crucial to just blowing the game wide open in this mid-game portion. And because Morphling Shaker, that's where it's most fragile. That's the kind of hero I'm looking for. So I want to see a mid lane matchup that's in his favor. But we kind of talked about that last series or last game. It felt like Emo was the better mid laner.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and you can see that IG actually thought the same way that BSJ just did because look what they ban out. They ban out the Puck, who's a momentum mid laner, and the SF. And they actually had great success with the SF yesterday. So it's interesting to see respect placed on that hero that we really haven't seen that much during this tournament. And I suppose it would have had a lot of synergy with the Snapfire, and it would have just given them Roche, which is kind of awkward for them at the moment. So the Dragon Knight also fits the bill. So I think the bans on IG's side cover it quite well.
So you're looking for also a consistent mid laner because you've been talking about Ori. He just needs to be able to do decently in that mid lane. Mm-hmm. SF and DK kind of fit that bill.
Yeah.
Are there any other heroes you can think of that fit that as well? Against the Storm as well.
Against the Storm. Well, what's left in the pool right now?
Well, we got like an IG's pick first.
Well,
all right, sure.
I think they might just go Void Spirit here.
Okay.
But Ori has, I don't want to call any specific player out, but Ori has been underperforming on his Spirit heroes compared to the other ones in this tournament. So it feels like they're shying away from them a little bit, which could explain why they wanted to go for that Lena draft.
I would love to see Spectre or TV for IG. Spectre makes their teamfight execution way better. The chaos against combos is always nice. And then TV's just, he's not the best individually against Morphling, but they needed a lot of tower hitting and a lot of wave clear. So they go for the Spectre. They either could play for the team fights or play for the map navigation. The TV would have been better for lanes, but Spectre just makes these single target heroes like Lion. If you see a Lion walking through a ward with the line that they have so far, it wasn't all that scary unless Storm was nearby, but now every single hero on the side of IG represents solo kill threat, as long as that Ags on Spectre comes out.
Yep, BSJ the Prophet. And just to add on a couple of points to this, Spectre is one of the best carries in the game versus Blink Dagger initiators, just because you press Haunt and she just stops it. So that makes the Shaker pick go down a little bit in value, and also she can scout out the Monkey King in the trees.
Might be a Lesh game, maybe?
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but it's also one of Fly's like signature, right? We always talk about he wants to carry the game, but also wants to team fight. Spectre does exactly that. TB, much more of a farming-oriented hero. But yeah, I actually like the Leshrac pick. I was thinking the same thing.
Lesh or TA, something like that.
But Lesh against Spectre is really bad, though, is the problem.
Yeah.
I think Leshrac would die a lot here. There's not really any kind of synergy or hero to save him. If he gets jumped on by the Storm, followed up by Haunt, he's just dead.
Yeah,
so
I
don't want to see that hero particularly. The thing is, it looks like they should go for Void Spirit, but not only has Ori been not doing too hot on it, they might lack some damage in the early mid game if they do go for Void here. So they're taking their time thinking about this one.
We're seeing they're taking their time here. Partially, perhaps they are considering the idea that like we need a consistent mid laner as well, something that can't go badly, but also a tempo. It doesn't feel like there's anything that really fits this bill for them just yet.
You need something that makes early moves, and the only reason I mentioned Lesh, it's not the best for Spectre, but you need a tower hitter as well. Like Morphling can't reliably building siege for a long time.
Is DP possible here?
Yeah, DP. Actually, yeah. I like that a lot. Against the Storm, it's a good matchup.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, they go for the
Let's
Lesh.
go Lesh.
It's bad against Spectre later on. If he dies once or twice in the early game, I think Ori's in for some trouble. They have a lot of burst. But if he can get to like the Sanj and Kaya, Eternal Shroud, sustain through the Doom, if he's got his ultimate on, they could absolutely buy enough time for this Morphling Shaker combo to come online.
I will agree to that, but just to reiterate a little bit, I think that a good Storm jump with a Lion follow-up in the early game should be a very easy, or a Spectre follow-up later on should be a very easy dead Lusher.
For IG, what are the strengths that we're seeing from them in this draft?
They have really good scaling, and if it gets to a certain point in the mid game where Doom has his BKB and Spectre has her Ags and whatever item she chooses to go after, they should overwhelm them in team fights.
You think it's going to be an Ags, like the Ags hunting Spectre game as well?
I do think so, because she's playing with Storm in lane.
Well, we're going to have to hear from the coaches themselves, as this time Sir Slacks has met up with Vici's coach Fenrir to ask him about their draft.
Thank you very much. We're about to head into it, so I'll make it quick. We talked to Super last time. He said that you guys had a greedy draft. This time I'm interested what you think about theirs.
上一把 Super 说你们的阵容非常贪心，这一把你觉得他们阵容怎么样？
阵容怎么说呢？阵容是贪心了嘛，但是也有赢面嘛，只能说适合我们吧。
你觉得他们阵容怎么样？那你觉得他们阵容怎么样？
他们的阵容选的跟我们想的差不多吧，但是这一盘阵容可能他们选的会比较好一点。
Well, last game I didn't think our lineup. I know that my lineup was greedy, but I think that we could have won. However, this game, I think that they had the better pick.
All right, fantastic. Well, we'll go ahead and jump into the game and see if that's accurate. Let's throw it over to our fantastic casters, Trent and Lyrical.
Oh, thank you so much, Slacks. Yes, always great to get the little bit of the interview before we go into the game. It felt like he had the better pick. That's not something we normally hear from the coaches at the exit.
I feel like he's trying to pit them against each other here. Like, eventually, I don't know, if we don't settle things down here, he might get them just play a 1v1.
I like that idea a lot, but let's get into the game right now.
I think I'm taking Super in that.
You would?
Yeah. He's got it.
That's fair enough. Support players, though, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. But we're already into the game now. As you can see, both teams heading out across the map. None of those big five-man smoke-up movements that we've been seeing pretty consistently. But IG is all sitting right in the river by the Tier 1 tower and going to try and get some vision down. See if they get any of those early D wards. So, Morph Shaker. That feels like it's sort of the thing that we need to address, right? Do we have what it takes to get to that unstoppable phase that we've seen from them?
I will tell you who addressed it, and that was IG, because they saw the Shaker, and they went, okay, well, they could morph Shaker after this, so why don't we just take, like, Doom and Lion so they don't morph Shaker, and then they morph Shaker, and they're like, oh, cool. So you have Hex, you have Doom. I mean, you know that they're playing for basically this single hero overwhelming you at some point in the game, and they have excellent abilities versus that sort of a strategy.
Well, we're going to see here the bounty runes picked up 2 for IG, as Vici are going to head back to their side and also pick up a couple of them. Yeah, it's going to be something interesting to watch for. And of course, you know, as Effie was talking about, there's that potential to blow up the Lesh later on when you have either that Storm jump or the Spectre jump later on, and just a heck of a lot of things. So it's going to be a tough one for Ori, and needing to build into a lot of survivability items as this game goes later.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by the Lesh pick, because I thought they listed some really good reasons why it was a very risky one to go for here from Ori. I thought maybe they'd lean back to one of the spirits or like the Kunkka or just something that was a little bit more, I don't know, like
survivable.
Two-dimensional, yeah, survivable. That's great. I almost feel like they actually want to up their tempo a little bit, just like maybe bring in the Morph a little bit more, maybe not play so hard towards the Morph Shaker and just try and play this out, because I really think just going like all in on Morphling seems very dangerous this game.
Yeah, going all in on any hero when you have a Doom is pretty scary, as early on, Emo 3-1, Lesh 2-0. Emo getting the better of him. I think that we saw a stat from the stats group that we're in that it was the most damage done by a hero, at least throughout the entire tournament, by his Ember Spirit, and maybe potentially one of the ones of all time as well. He just absolutely shredded on that physical damage Ember build.
Yeah, when those fights get later in the game and the talents start coming out, get a couple of those engagements in and you can start topping some charts. So I'm sure he's feeling great coming into this game, and now moving from the Ember to the Storm. So a bit different, a little bit more pressure on the actual initiations and follow-ups for the Ember Spirit, whereas Ember, he definitely moved into more of a like dancing around the map and the team fight sort of game. But I do think there were some good answers here from Vici in this draft. I think that consistently, again, the theme of vision just seemed like a serious problem for Vici in the last match, and so just kicking things off with the Monkey King, already making things a bit better. But I really think that IG, you know, like they go back for that Spectre at the end, and it makes your fight so much easier to play when you have that Haunt. So to me, Vici taking fights during Haunt is going to be a serious problem.
Fissure comes out right there. Ollie not going to get clapped by that Boundless Strike, so we'll be able to get out of there the last second. Yeah, I think that the lack of Clockwork is going to be a big win, most likely. The vision that he provided, and of course, like you mentioned, the Haunt, if you do go for it, gives you that full reveal of everybody, but it's a pretty big commitment if there's not an opening for a fight afterwards. We'll see if Fly can continue his impressive spree so far.
It is ridiculous, though, that you have Haunt, and then you have, like, it gives Storm the Zip, it gives Lion the Blink Hex, and it gives Doom the Blink Stomp Doom.
Yeah, it's everything.
It is so fight-winning if they catch a Haunt near your team.
In the meantime, at the same time, we're seeing the Snapfire on DY. Potentially a good amount of damage that can come out as Kaka actually going to get ran at. Cookie afterwards changes target, switches over to JT, and with the rundown, that's enough for first blood. Not bad from Poyoyo.
Nice, very well done. Very, very cool. You know, they're just like checking out the spells, watching the mana pools, and saying, okay, now we found our chance to go, right? Now up top, PYW wanted to finish what he started before. Missed the previous Boundless, and even this time, not able to get the finish.
But look across the lanes right now. They're crushing it across all three for Vici.
And that's part of what that pressure does, right? Driving back Ollie, giving more freedom to Old 11 right there with the 1-1-1 at level 3. Has quite a few tools here in the lane.
So far, so good for Vici, who so often I feel like have been sort of identified by their potential and consistent desire to go into the later stages of the game. But if you got onto a hot start like this, it could be really solid for them. Changing things up a little bit here in this game number 2.
Yeah, Lesh, one of the best heroes to have, of course, in those situations, since you can take the objective so easily. So Vici, there's no reason they need to sit back, you know? Like, we talk about this, like, eventual timing with the Morph and the Shaker. You don't want to panic too hard and just play for that and not try and grow your advantage if you get one out of this laning stage. But in the river there, DY caught, but a very tanky hero, so it's not going to amount to very much.
Yeah. Kaka gonna zone him back a little bit afterwards, after taking that water rune. And at least for now, JT not really able to put that much pressure onto that Morphling. It's gonna be something that we see a little bit later on in this game, and depending upon what build the Morph goes for as well. D-Ward there and blocking out the camp, so there won't be any side pull action either. Nice from DY.
Just a very relaxed laning stage here, right? You know, it's TI. Sometimes you leave an Aegis behind or something. Evan's just sort of getting zen and focused here. JT. Simultaneous in the top lane as well. They're jumping out of Fly. Got a lot of damage.
Big one. Spectre in some trouble. Ends up going down. Old 11 picks up the kill. So only 11 last hits at this point for that Spectre. Fly is not having a great time.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a mystery that they're going to be trying to pick up this Phoenix for Ollie too, so it feels like maybe trying to find some sort of a solution in that laning stage here, right? With the way the TYW is playing this for Monkey King, just putting the pressure on, forcing him off from the wave there, and trying to punish one of the weaker parts of the game from a Phoenix.
Well, this is exactly what they were hoping to do on Vici. TYW starting to rotate towards this mid lane. Obviously, the 6-minute mark is incredibly important for rune potential, but having just hit level 6 on the Storm, this is going to be a tough kill if they try and go for it. Boundless Strike into the stun. Do they have enough, though? The zip comes afterwards. Emo actually sticks around for a second.
Needs some lashes.
And getting the tower hits also onto PYW. Dude, Emo is not afraid in a little bit.
He actually just got all of those.
And turn now onto DY. Gets the kill. Not bad from JT.
But as you said, like, yeah, you don't get the kill because he's level 6, but it's still a lot of pressure. And of course, we're moving on to 6 minutes now. So moving to that top rune, TYW going to battle out with Ollie, but Kaka has to come and get the coverage on the bottom lane. Unfortunately for them, though, it is top, so unable to give it to the Lesh, unfortunately, but DY is going to put the TP in after that death in the bottom lane. Come fill up his mid's bottle.
Yeah. So a slight lead all across the lanes. The main one that's hurting right now is Fly. And obviously without a Magnus or anything, there's no catch-up potential necessarily.
Man, that is rough. They've done an amazing job in this top lane.
Yeah. Really putting that pressure on. Emo farming in the jungle, no bottle, and is going to have to walk home after clearing out that stack.
Yeah, and Fly, you know, on the Spectre, not the hero you really want to be heading to the jungle to on the earlier end, right? You cross your fingers to the chip vest at this point, hoping for a comeback mechanic. And look at Old 11 just feeling so confident, dragging the wave with them too. Just like, yeah, you want to turn and fight me? I'm level 6.
Yeah, he's got that echo ready. If anybody shows up, they get blown up. And Fly will get a couple of these CS here. This is on the catapult, but regardless, not where the Fly Spectre wants to be, but these other heroes having an okay time.
Oh, look at this. TPing top lane now from Emo, the turnaround play.
This is big. 11 pulled back in, has that echo still available, wants to drop it. Hits there onto 2, but it's not enough. That's a bait.
Every time. Every Earthshaker. You know, you gotta know, you have that feeling when you play Shaker, you're like, I know this won't kill them, but maybe this time, you know? You've tried it like 50 games in a row in the exact same scenario, but early on it just doesn't quite have the oomph.
Oh, just like that. They brought a couple heroes down bottom. We're hoping to find a pick there onto the Doom, but he headed back to the jungle, played it safe. Still Vici with a 2K gold lead at 7 minutes. They're having a nice start.
Yeah, the kill did also go to Emo, he said there, so not the biggest help for Fly to get a little bit of space on the lane, but Emo looking for some more plays towards that mid lane. There's the coverage there from PYW with the Boundless Strike, as well as DY here. This could be Kaka dead.
Oh, this could be a nice pickup. There it is, immediately into the stun, but Emo shows up, and now Kaka living a little bit longer. Won't be enough to save him, but the stun afterwards tries to turn on the Emo. Do they have enough? They're going to keep alive the Lesh for a second, but only a second longer. And as everybody else comes in from IG, Vici lose 2 in the river.
I thought Ori was away for a second, and then JT just comes. The music starts playing. Slays him from behind, so nice stuff there to get the coverage. All for a kill on a Lion. Obviously not very worth it there for Vici.
These past couple moves, Vici getting caught out. But still, a slight gold lead that they're hanging on to. You have to imagine if they get this kill up top, though.
All right, he's got to live, though, right? I mean, they had the obs in the jungle. Did he leave too late?
Oh, no. He was right underneath the Observer Ward as he tried to head away. The slowdown needs to throw out a fissure on a Kaka, but it might be too late. No.
Barely.
Barely getting out of there. And mid lane, they find a cleanup onto Ollie and also starting to pressure this tower.
All right, so that is the price of that ward, right? Like, that's all because of that ward up near the top outpost, because he saw the rotation coming up top, so Shaker plays tight for a little bit, then starts backing away, so they're still going to try the gank, and then knowing this, VG say, okay, let's attack mid lane, right? Yeah. Obviously, they're rotating up top with the Storm Spirit. We can get a great trade here, and what a costly trade, too, losing that mid tower. Lashrak 3 points in the Edict, immediately comes to the bottom lane behind JT with the wraparound.
I don't even know if they see it. They know he's here.
Yeah, they don't even know. He was thinking about doing some tree plays with the Edict.
And instead, they're going to back out to their own jungle, get down that good Observer Ward.
Dude, that ward is just killing them. It's spotting Kaka and Ollie moving through here again to that top lane.
Yeah, all those movements, giving some good vision.
And look how PYW is playing mid here too, right? With Emo being so close to Ori, PYW, not only can he be there for defensive boundless strikes, but perhaps you can even get a good aggro initiation.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of initiation. Hold 11. A little scared up there.
Yeah, and actually they're going to wrap on him now.
Oh, that's a creep too far, my friend.
Yeah, this ward is very prepared for the kill. Throws out the heck. It's not even going to be there in time. Old 11 throws the fissure. Flyflight kills him, I think with dispersion.
All right.
And now JT underneath the monkey. PYW backs out again. But you can see the tempo that Vici want to play. They want to make this a little different here as they force down that bottom tier 1 tower. They're setting the tempo.
They really are. This is looking fantastic for them. Falcon Blade as well as into the early perseverance here for Poyo. So tons of sustain to stay out on the map right now as a Morphling can start playing a little bit solo as they want to group up around this Leshrac and push parts of the map. Meanwhile, you still have Old 11 just back up top.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep going here. I'm going to keep trying to slow down your Spectre. She's still the poorest core in the game. And you know, Flyfly just not able to get that big jungle acceleration that a lot of carries can do.
And we have a smoke up now. 3 heroes in the mid lane. They're gonna run right at that storm. Emo caught, stunned, but the heal is out. Will it be enough? Needs a little bit more, and
he went in.
God. Emo is out of his mind. He still managed to get with the Snapfire ulti. Dodging, trying to get out of it. Do they have enough? They don't have the range. And afterwards, Ollie makes the kill happen with the egg.
Looking good.
Emo
with it.
Dude is absolutely wrecking.
That was some nice plays. They were so focused on finishing off the storm, they're just dying, right?
Yeah.
As the other heroes rotate in, all they can cling to is that attempted kill on the enemy mid. Those are the kind of plays he's gonna make here. Not something you see too often from like a storm at this point, right? You think it was more as like the mid and late game, not so much like 11 minutes making the zips. Well done, and Storm, one of the best parts of this hero, 0 cooldowns, right? You're just ready to go again. You know, no big long ones whatsoever, so they're going to smoke up. They're going to lurk behind their Spectre here. Probably knowing that she's a big target on that hero, right? You know, you really want to take down the old Spec, knowing that she's the one who's being bullied. And instead, Vici just go towers again.
That's right. Focus the objectives. And
there's a blink from Old 11. Of course.
Yeah, they're looking for this. Smoke is going to break. Old 11, do they get the haunt right at the start? Jump through. That's 1 dead. Finger of death out. DY, oh, they catch them both. Tries to salvage something. It's not going to be enough. The Boundless Strike won't be enough to keep alive Old 11. Is DY also going to get ran down? 3 dead. IG just covering all their bases.
So JT tried to blink, or sorry, not JT, obviously. 11 tried to blink off to the left, and Kaka, who got the lion this time since IG have it, manages to catch him with the Hex right there. Beautiful stuff. And then finished off there as it's, I believe, JT who picked up the kill there, too. So once again, we have another very rich Doom. Not the richest this game, though, as that is still going to be our Morphling. Something that Vici can hold on to. They're pushing these towers still, getting that done. They are moving IG around the map a lot, but they're still succeeding in a lot of these kills, so they're not the most punishing rotations. It's 10-4, but it's still a gold lead right now for Vici.
Bringing in the Shaker. Old 11 looking for the opening. Finds him. Echo, fissure, combo. Ollie is there again, though. And Emo just gets out and walks back in again. This guy doesn't care at all. Supernova down. They just have to walk away from him. Emo has no fear.
I mean, when you have Ollie backing you up like that, why should you?
Right now, only the 2 points in Sunray, but still getting so much done on this Phoenix. Now, there is still a Morphling. Poyo farmed, getting towards that Lincoln Sphere.
All right, well, if we're going to follow the trend of last game, what's going to start to happen soon is that, you know, Old 11, he's popping off so far, or sorry, he's not doing well so far. You know, having a pretty rough game. Last game, he popped off early, and it didn't quite finish out the game. Meanwhile, JT, he had a pretty bad start. He finished really well. So, as the game goes later, maybe Old 11's going to find his mojo here. Well, he's going to try to motivate a little bit here with the chat lines, but JT and Old 11 comparison here, yeah, you can see that GPM a little bit easier on the old Doom.
Very fast farmer. And in the meantime, Emo could just play right up in their base and has nothing really to worry about as long as he's got some heroes nearby to keep him safe. Need the full commitment for the save.
Oh, they're committed to keeping Flyfly safe, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Hanging out nearby in the trees. Just going to allow Flyfly to freely take this tower. And I say that, now they're going to smoke. They're coming through under this ward from IG, so perhaps a false sense of security. Takes a long time to push this. JT's going to help out a bit. What is the initiation with his duels, though?
They spot him right away. Has to jump out. They don't have old 11 here, though. I mean, this is the Blink Dagger Shaker. Kaka, waveform in, turns over, able to get the Earth Spike. That's the Lincoln's reveal. And now old 11 showing up, jumps in, catches them both, and they got the combo coming in from the Snapfire afterwards. Fly in trouble. Vici, they played it perfect.
Very well done. The time taken to actually finish off that tower really hurting them there. On the side of IG, they just throw everything they had at them. The way they perform that fight, you're right, PYW sitting in the trees, giving them the general idea of what's up, and then he almost like baited them to the left. As he starts running away, they're like, oh, can we get a catch on this Monkey King? And suddenly, out of the smoke comes Ori, and that's when the panic set in.
7-10. 2K gold lead, and Emo getting closer to that Orchid.
Yeah.
As the 2 Oblivion staff's done.
Part of the reason he wasn't down there, right? He's farming that up, trying to get that first big item for himself. And being a Storm, he'd also love this 16-minute room, but they can't find that, unfortunately. Huge for Storms to try and play around that, and it's going to be an invis for Ori.
With that Orchid coming out, where does IG want to go? Still got, obviously, a long time until the Morph Shaker combos are going to start coming out. He is building into the Aghanims right away, though, not opting for a BKB first.
That Invis rune. Ori wants to make a play here, but that's JT. He's pretty tanky. Oh, he went for the instant.
And Cookie afterwards. JT slowed down. JT dead. Good catch for that kill.
Didn't end up mattering.
Monkey King scouting around that area as well. Just cosplaying as a courier for a moment. But yeah, IG, it feels like they've kind of got a weird timing, right? Because on the one hand, you've got that Orchid ready, but Aghanims still
it's ready in the mid lane.
Away.
They jump old 11 here, too.
This is a nice one for him. Finger of Death out, and actually going to even use the Haunt for that.
Yeah, just doubling up and making sure there wasn't any like support nearby, I'm sure, or like hoping there obviously was, because maybe then Emo can extend the fight into a second kill. Tower still pretty healthy. The actual tower push very weak right now from IG. It's never really going to get much better with these heroes either. That is perhaps one slight issue here for IG in this game. It's obviously that's what punished them in the bottom lane, and without a catapult, it's pretty tough for them to keep this pressure up. Emo's going to do his best, but Poyo's trying to pull the wave, and now here comes PYW with the smoke.
Looks for it. Kaka there. He doesn't hit on the stun. Oh, what a great combo. They back out of there just in time, and Kaka didn't have vision for that stun. Ori dodging back into the trees, and now they're going to find Kaka for a follow-up kill afterwards. Very well played by Vici.
It's tough because you see Emo playing so well, but part of that is because he's taking so many risks, right? And eventually you're going to get caught in the mousetrap. And that time, he most certainly did. Very well done here, but it's that lack of push that I feel like they're not even respecting their own lack of push. Like, still just trying to force that tower and just... I mean, this is why Monkey King has looked so good at the International, just helping to set up in those really long-range boundless strikes, helps combo anything. And a great catch there from Ori in the trees.
And now, with the tier 1 towers taken, this is always the big testing point, right? Like, you can find these kills on Vici, you can turn them into the tier 1 towers very easily, but getting that second tier objectives has been real test of, you know, if the teams can kind of push themselves that next level, and it's not easy. And instead, for the moment, they find the jump now onto Morph. Not going to be able to get anything afterwards.
Got the shift off, so not a huge panic. That was a smoke used here. So in order to get those tier 2 towers, what do? We take Rogue.
Oh, link back. Kaka almost gets him. Nicely done.
But that tends to be the focus after, right? So you see the vision already being laid down there up top here from Vici. DY pushing out that lane, some obs. The sneaky ward that Vici views quite a bit near that pit as well, where it's kind of like hanging on the cliff there. Very well done, looking down into the river.
Always so important to be able to scout out those fights before they break out.
For now, IG just waiting for that haunt, though. Got the Ags, but it was still 90 seconds away from the haunt, so after that, Flyfly's just been farming it up here. And you imagine that JT probably really wishing he had that Blink Dagger here, too. Has the BKB, so if it's an aggressive fight from Vici, can maybe just like get in there onto the best possible dupe target. Up top, though, Kaka, he gets aggroed on. It's the morph for Poyo. That's beautiful. Very nice, Kaka. How do you like it?
Keeps on catching him with that one. And this is, you know, a big problem. The Lion needs to be that one initiating on top of them.
And the worst part is you don't have a recourse. Like, what are you going to do? Like, the timing's just not going to be there for you to get through the Lincolns and cast a spell.
Yeah. Have to be like instant on it or preempt it to some extent, which is incredibly difficult. But in the meantime, Vici continue to hold this area. They've got some pretty solid minus armor and DY heading into the pit. Are they actually going to try and take this now? It doesn't look like it.
It seems like Polio is not quite as confident here, and also a wave near their mid tower. Luckily, don't want to make that trade for free.
He's 500 gold away at this point from getting that Aghanim Scepter on the Morph, which can open up the game that much more quickly. And they do still have some really good control on IG. You know, you've got that Orchid ready, you've got Doom still, even though he's still a little ways away from that Blink Dagger on JT.
Look at that scan from Old 11 too, though. He actually just scanned the trees near himself up top there, so not a great idea from Vici as to what IG are actually doing. They're just wondering, like, surely they're coming for someone, but who is it? Well, the answer is the mid lane. Don't want to go into that Lincoln's. Ori has the fresh BKB and the Yules.
They break the smoke, Hawk comes out, they jump immediately onto Morph, not going to catch. Old 11 now backing away, they catch Ori, but maybe the counter initiation play with the BKB out. They could have this. Supernova used. Vici, do they want to chase? Old 11, he's got Blink Fissure in 7, but it's too far away. And now they have that Ags done and also a Tome coming out for Koyoyo, so he's going to also have 18 most likely.
Ollie using that egg, probably saving Emo as he did get stunned up in the middle of that there, and no real defensive item to help other than this Essence Ring.
Here we go. So often, this has been the combo that feels impossible to deal with.
Yeah.
You get the double Fissure, double Enchant Totem, amping up the damage from Koyoyo, and the amount of control and the power spike that you hit on Vici, they got to get something here.
I feel like this is the fastest one I've seen at the event, at least from casting. Like, I've seen quite a few Morph Shaker games, but for it to be ready at like 21 minutes like this is terrifying, especially because Shaker has the BKB, and at least for us, when we were casting all these matches, it's been the 4 Shaker, and you're struggling to get even just the Blink Dagger, and that makes this combo not nearly as impactful. But with Old 11 being on the core Shaker this game, having the Blink, having the BKB, this is a frightening scene for IG, and gotta imagine there's a lot of pressure on JT, but he has that Blink, he has the BKB, so perhaps JT can do it again here with the Dooms.
It's going to be important that they make that happen, but the tier 2 tower they're going to have to give up in the top lane, which looks to be claimed here in just a moment. Because that is one thing that you can sometimes do, right? Is we've seen teams go for, like, you know, a Haunt play or something like that and then kill the Shaker, and then there's no longer that combo. But in this instance, with the BKB on it, it becomes a lot harder, or Shaker a lot harder.
You might see some of the plays that they've been trying here too from Vici. The last time that Haunt came out, they tried to pop a smoke in the backline for the support, so trying to almost like force the Haunt in from Flyblade, just be like, all right, well, you know, what's going on here? So they've already thought about a couple of counter plays, and now we have the Force Staff done for DY as well. Help it break up any of the chain stuns, also just disengage Koyo in certain engagements too, I'm sure. But they're just going to keep knocking on your towers. We've talked about this, the lack of push here. Oh, down bottom.
They catch him. Solo, why not? That was huge. They blow him up there with that Fey Grenade. That's the combo you need, and given the tip, that's a huge kill.
Mean, he said Spectre was hoping for a chip vest earlier, but you're always hoping for the Fey Grenade here with the Morph and the Shaker combo. The Shaker absolutely loving this thing. You get the totem damage on the throw.
Moving on in, trying to hold this high ground. They've put their hopes into Poyoyo and jump in. There's going to be the cookie afterwards. Do they have enough? Waveform through, bringing down JT. Has to pop the BKB, run away.
God, that was so sick. The Boundless to stop the initial cast of the Doom, and then Poyo throws the Lincolns on top of Ori, and so JT's just like, okay, well, I guess I just keep
out of here now.
Yeah, at least he didn't waste it, right? Yeah. But excellent. Just like, they know the stack of how the fight's supposed to go, right? They can see all the spells in the order that IG want to go for, and you're just trying to disrupt that.
Wow. This is one of those moments where, you know, you put the game into Poyoyo's hands and hope that he's going to be able to hang on to it.
Well, there's that. I also just think that Ori's also having a really nice game, too. Like,
oh my God! Jumps in! And they break the Lincolns, though. It doesn't matter. The double Fissure, and now the chase down the Enchant Totem. JT pops it, turns. Do they have enough, though?
Old 11's coming through.
He's got with the Aegis, they just don't want to go for it. Poyo waveform, tries to get him. Adaptive Strike, not quite going to be on the mark. So JT gets away. They've got to wait out that Aegis.
Meanwhile, Emo is still just down here. I'm sure feeling a little nervous hiding here. Doesn't have a TP right now. Nighttime, gonna try and use the lack of vision to escape. This is some dangerous stuff.
That was very close to death. I mean, again, it feels like right now IG are kind of trying to wait this out, at least until the Aegis comes down. They still got a minute and a half. Vici, do they try and push that tempo that much further with 2 tier 2 towers down?
And look at them, they're just camping.
They're ready.
Hiding near this outpost.
Walks
Kaka,
into vision.
he's already been one-shot once.
Fissure, jump in, done. It happens so quick.
Oh, meanwhile, Emo gonna show on this wave down here. Is there any real punish though? No. It's DY with a force and a cookie. Not enough teammates. Okay, well, unless he's not careful with the zips, but
he's out. Well played.
This whole map now belonging to Vici. Game 2. This is a whole new one for them. And I mean, really, all you can do is just kind of lie and wait for Flyfly to help find that one big fight. Try and set up the plays, set up the initiation for Kaka, for JT. See if they can catch this Morphling, but Poyo not making it easy. Soon
and
have the E-Blade.
jumps in, finds the Spectre, in trouble, going to fall soon.